Welcome to Haphazard Homestead. This is part 2 of our big homestead haul of wild greens. In part 2, we're headed out back, and we run into 3 really good greens that have just recently popped up this spring. Alright, you can tell the season is progressing. We're seeing a couple of other things here. I've already went and got the chives. You can look at the other video to see about getting chives, but I just went back and hit them again. The grass is a little taller, but you just grab them and cut them. Picked up some more dock along the way. But here's 2 other things that we're seeing. One is this wild lettuce here, wild lettuce, which is different from a dandelion. It's tasty now. It's very tender. It just tastes like a lettuce that's been around in your garden for a while. If you like wilted lettuce, you kind of like to take something like an older lettuce. You're not bothered by the bitterness of an older lettuce. The other thing that we're seeing is wild geranium, the crane's bill. This is going to be a weed for me. There'll be a lot of it. It just seems like, what's the point of picking all of that? It's not a lot of substance in that if you're just picking the leaves. So you want to make sure you get a stand that makes it worth picking. You can get in there with your knife and get the whole dadgum thing. Then that's easier to pick, right? You just get in the whole thing, just cut right under the ground, get those leaves off. And then what do we have over here? Look at that. We've got some more of the wild lettuce there. That's looking nice and tender. Take it like that. All this is going to be good. All that, we're going to do the same as we do for the dandelion. Just cut it off at the butt. It's got that basal rosette. Any of you that weed in a garden will know what this is. Alright, a little bit of harsh lighting, but also you can see here the little more field mustard. Right there, field mustard, and right there, wild lettuce. We're going to go get the wild lettuce. Sort of like a dandelion, but not a dandelion. And when you cut it, it's going to bleed white, that white latex. When you go over to field mustard, that's like any mustard that you grow, any of the brassicas. That's all it is, a brassica, a broccoli, a crucifer. What do I see? Let's just go up from the start to the end. You can see a whole field of a pernicious weed, the wild geranium, all those leaves. I'm not going to pick that one by one by one by one. It's easier to just get at when you can see the taller ones and more lush. These are going to get a lot of sun. But look up this way, field mustard. Wild lettuce, a field mustard, a wild lettuce, a field mustard, wild lettuce. And then what? Farther back, wild lettuce. We're going to go get all those, alright? We're going after field mustard, wild lettuce. Field mustard. That's fine. Wild lettuce. Just take that like that. Cut it off at the base. You can see that latex coming out right away. That's how you know it's a wild lettuce. That latex is coming out. If you see any leaves that are kind of damaged that you don't want, just cut them off. And look at all that latex coming out, just like lettuce. And it's kind of a little on the old side, but this is all nice and tender, not all tough like an old lettuce. Having a knife comes in handy rather than pulling this all up and getting dirt. Alright, what else do we have here? What do we have going on? We've got cleavers, goosegrass, bed straw. It's gallium. Alright, let's go get some of that. That's easy to tell. Stick tights is another name. You just grab a bunch, it all sticks tight. Now this is going to cook down a lot, so how much do you want here? This is all still very tender. A little on the sticky side when you eat it, because you know what it is. It's stick tight. Has a nice mild flavor. Alright, I just want to make that point again about taking advantage of the shade. As the season gets longer, the early species start getting a little tough or bitter out in the sun. Go into the shade. Things are a little more tender. What do we see here? That's a good dandelion there in the shade. You can see its indented leaves, its toothed leaves, but it's nice and succulent yet. And then what do we see? Just a little bit this way of it. We see a lot more cress, right? It's flowering, but its stalks are nice and tender because it's been raining. It's here in the shade. Let's just go get that. It's tasty. See if you can keep your eye on them as we pan out. the dandelion down at the bottom of the screen, and then the cress. That's all very nice cress. You just cut off the tails right here, cut off the root ends. That's a nice little mess right there. And here's another one. The dandelion has been in the shade. Do you see it behind that board? We're gonna go stalk that dandelion. We're gonna go get that dandelion in the shade. That's a nice, succulent looking dandelion. It's right there. Isn't that nice? Take a look at that. You see that cress? Take a look at that. I'm not going to go get it. I'm going to leave it. That's just pretty as a button. Look at that. That's beautiful, isn't it? Down in front of that, what do we have? We've got some geranium leaves. Do you see those? I'll go get those geranium leaves because that's just a nice rosette. We'll be able to get that pretty quickly. Off of that. That's got a nice flavor, nice refreshing flavor. See, when they're nice and lush like that, they're so much easier to pick. We're going to take a little extra time to look at these wild geraniums. You know these if you have a garden. They're a pernicious weed. It's nice to know how a plant grows. It makes it easier to decide where to harvest it and how. In the shade, these things have long stems. All you're after are the leaves. So get them out of the shade. They're going to be more succulent. And then all you're doing is pulling the leaves off like that. But it's easiest to pull it up as the whole rosette, because then you can stand up and do this. Then you can focus on which leaves are good. I want to take a look at these leaves. You know that if you're in a finely cut leaves. So this goes pretty quick when you get just a few tall plants. It's a lot easier to manage that way. So pick where it's easiest. Don't just always pick the first place you find them. Here's what else we got along in the mowed trail here that's grown up a little bit. What do you see right there at that middle? Holler it out when you think you know it. Holler it out. Do you know it yet? Do you know it yet? Do you know it yet? There it is, the plantain. It's that lance-leafed plantain, not the broadleafed. Look at it. That's a nice good size. How are we going to harvest that? Are you going to pick it off this time, or are you going to cut it at the base? I'm just going to cut it because it looks like a lot of these leaves are good. These are getting a little on the tough side. Give this one a taste. Oh, good mushroom flavor. Look, that's a nice batch. All right, this is an interesting little spot. We've got both kinds of wild lettuce, and you may be thinking this looks an awful lot like a thistle. But watch what I can do with that. I can do that. You try to do that with the thistle. It's a little prickly, but not like a dadgum thistle, right? This is the other version, the other species of wild lettuce. It has a milky white sap. You could never do this with just a regular thistle unless your hands were made of Kevlar or you were a superhero or something. All right, there's one. Alright, here's a quiz. What do you see? What do you see right in the middle? Do you see it? Do you see it? That's a field mustard. Let's go get the field mustard. So you could see the day was getting late. That was the end of the big haul of wild greens at the homestead. I hope you'll come back for part 3 when I head into the kitchen. We clean these greens up, and it's easier to see some of the finer points of identifying some of these great wild greens. I'd really like to hear what wild greens you enjoy, so leave a comment below. Thanks!